Well, here we are in June, another cold summer in Tucson. Had to get the parkas out because I think it went below 105 or something. So it was really cold today. So yeah, just another day in Tucson. In this month's thing here, there's a lot to talk about, especially in the news and in the emergency technologies area. I'll just go ahead and get started with the news then. The biggest news this month thus far is Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference that happened on June 10th. Well, the week of June 10th, it's a whole week of stuff. And they made a lot of announcements about, the integration of artificial intelligence and new features for iOS 18 coming up and updates to some of the hardware and things. And I'll go deeper into that in a little bit under the next segment. But that was the big news from Apple, and as expected, AI was a big part of it. So the next piece of news that I have is that Amazon has made Grubhub a permanent fixture in the Prime membership subscription. So now you can use Grubhub with I believe it's free delivery. You still get service charges, but you don't get delivery fees if you're a Prime member and you're using it through them. So it was I think a year or two ago they offered it for a certain amount of time and then they stopped it, but now it's a permanent fixture. So you can download the Grubhub app, and then of course you go through Amazon to do it, and then you'll get all that discount and everything when you do a food order. And if you guys would like, if you want me to go over that like in next month's meeting, I can add that to the list for next month. I don't have it on this month's at all, but that's kind of that.
TSB has joined the meeting.
Oh, here comes somebody.
The third news item that I have is there were some big problems at Microsoft this month. They have a AI implementation called Copilot. It's kind of like it's just what they call their AI integration into Windows. Okay, and one feature that was in there that really caused an alarm was something called recall. And what it does, if you turn that on, is it takes pictures of your screen and stores them. And then later you can recall them, and AI can read the screens and tell you what you were doing at that time. The problem with that is that Windows machines are really susceptible to being hacked. So someone could take your screenshots and read account information or social security information if you were on a sensitive site, or if you were doing something that had your social security number on it. That stuff would be available to hackers to see. So what they've done is they've gone ahead and disabled that for now, postponed the rollout of this recall feature until they figure out a better strategy. I personally, in my opinion, I don't think that is something that people need. I think it was a solution looking for a problem. I don't think we need to take screenshots periodically so we can go back and look at them. I'm not sure what the thinking was behind that, but obviously it wasn't a popular thing to do, and the community came up to an uproar, and Microsoft's stalled it for now. So we'll see what happens with that. So that's basically the news items that I had. The three of those: the Apple event, the Grubhub integration with the Prime membership, and of course this Microsoft recall feature that got stalled before it got released. So those are my news items. Any questions on the news at all? All right, we're going to go down to emerging technologies. Now, in this month's segment for emerging technologies, I want to talk about what they mentioned at the Apple Worldwide Developer Conference. Now, they mentioned a lot of things, but the things that are germane to us, being visually impaired individuals, are the things that I kind of pulled out of there that really make a lot of difference for us. They did a lot of visual things, like there were things like for the iPhone Pro series or the iPhone 12 and above that have the facial cameras. They're going to introduce this eye tracking thing on there. That's not going to be something we really use, but you'll be able to navigate with just moving your eyes, and it'll track your eye movement, and you can navigate your screen that way. That's one thing that they talked about. But the three things that I wanted to talk about were is really the integration of AI. So Apple has coined the term Apple intelligence instead of artificial intelligence. So it's still called AI, but the A stands for Apple when we're talking about the iPhone. So one of the things that iOS 18 is going to do when they roll it out is, let's say text. Let's say you compose an email to somebody, and you got your thoughts kind of gelled, but you don't really have it 100%. Well, you can kind of brainstorm on the email. You can say, "Hey, Barbara, boom, boom, boom," and this and that, boom, 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 and then you can then tell the AI part to take a look at my email draft and say, you know what? I would like you to take what I just composed in my email and make it concise and give me some bullet points, or give it a professional tone, or give it a friendly tone. And it can just do all that, just like that. Go in and your email will be very, very good. It'll actually clean it up for you, and it'll put the correct punctuation. It may even suggest some different language a little bit. And then you can accept that and send the email as that, or go back to the original that you composed. So they demoed some of that in the video for the conference that I watched. So that was kind of cool. And you can do that in any part of the phone where you're inputting text. You can have it analyze it and have it clean it up, or make it professional, or whatever voice you want. Okay, so that's kind of cool. And this is all done on the phone. It's not sent up to the cloud, by the way. It's all processed locally on the phone, and it's just all done locally. The second thing that they talked about was more of a visual thing, but we could use that. And you could create emojis or pictures based on just some text or some idea that you communicate to your phone. So you could say, let's say I'm writing an email to Patty, and Patty likes cats. So maybe I just want to add a little picture of a cat on the email. Well, I can tell it to create a picture of a cat, I don't know, playing a guitar, okay? And it'll create it on the spot. And then you could say, you know what? I want the cat to have sunglasses. And I want the guitar to be a Fender Stratocaster instead of an acoustic guitar, Jimi Hendrix Fender Stratocaster. And it'll do all of that. It'll actually make the cat look like it's playing an electric guitar, like a Jimi Hendrix Fender electric guitar with sunglasses. And maybe I want the cat to be a tabby. So an orange cat with kind of white, it'll do all that stuff, and it'll create it just from your words and stick it right into the email or into whatever document you're doing. And they demonstrated that too at WWDC. And you can create pictures, or you can create emojis. And it goes far beyond this. It can go to your photo library and do collages of your photos. It can do all kinds of crazy stuff. Lift parts of your photos out, certain pieces of your photos, like people or trees or whatever, and mix and match and stuff. So it's really getting kind of crazy with the AI in that area. And then the third thing that I gleaned off of this meeting that I thought we would like would be, like with the S lady, SIRI, okay? Let's say that you're asking her for, I don't know, like the weather report, and you go, what is the weather report for Tucson? I mean, Phoenix. And it will know that you wanted to disregard Tucson and get the Phoenix weather report instead. It knows how to listen to you better and not just take everything so literal. It can also do things like, you can ask her, when is my sister coming? Let's say you have your sister coming on an air flight to you, okay? And you have your sister in your contacts. You can say, when is my sister flying in from Chicago. Well, Siri will use the AI to look up who your sister is in contacts. Then it'll correlate it with emails that you get from her and find out when her plane's coming in and give you that answer without you having to go anywhere on your phone at all. So that's kind of what AI kind of does. So that's kind of cool if you have that going on. And of course, you got the other things that it should be able to do, like booking flights and things like that. It's going to be able to automate that a little more than we do now. Because right now we have to go through all of the rigmarole of flight selection and all this good stuff. And that's going to be maybe something of the past when this becomes available. And that's all good and great if we get it all, by the end of the year. It should be all live, ready to go by then. And there's many more features, which I won't go into right now because I could use up all the class time going over everything. But those are the three things that I thought would be of interest to us and help us out a little bit.
Manny?
Yes.
No, it's Maggie.
Yeah.
How is this coming together with the new iPhone 16?
That's a good question because I was leading into that. So very good. Thank you. I have good news and bad news about this, or good news and not so good news about this. The good news is all these features are coming. The bad news is that they're only going to be the AI features themselves, the real fancy ones. They're only going to be available to people who have the iPhone 15 Pro or Pro Max and above. So it's going to force you to upgrade if you want those features that I just talked about. Okay. Otherwise, you're just going to get the standard set of features and the other upgrades that are not AI specific. And there's a lot of those still. I mean, the iOS is naturally progressing, but like Maggie alluded to, you're not going to be able to get them unless you have a newer phone, and that's kind of bad, for me, because I have an iPhone 14 Pro Max and I thought I was going to be ready, but nope, I'm not. And I understand the reason why, but I don't like it. So in a nutshell, what's happening is that because of the AI integration into iOS, which is like it would be like the baseball field, and the players on the baseball field would be like the programs. But the iOS integration takes a lot of memory, and only the iPhone 15 Pro Maxes and newer will have enough memory to do this without the phone just slogging along. So my phone didn't make the cut because of not enough memory issue, and that's why. But it still forces us to upgrade if we want that stuff. So that's the good and bad news about that. And well, that's just the way it goes, I guess. So did I answer your question, Maggie?
Yeah, I just wondered because it's almost, do you feel that it's worth it to us to spend the money to upgrade?
That's a tough question. It depends on your usage. If you really think that this technology can make your life a lot easier, then it's really something to consider. If you think you're not really going to use AI very much in the near future, then I would hold off and just be cautious. And that's what I'm going to do. Unless one of you guys get an iPhone 15 Pro or Pro Max or newer and force me to teach the AI stuff, then I have to get it and woodshed on that so I can teach you guys. So I'm not going to upgrade until I have to, probably not until, end of 2025, 26 maybe, or before if I have to, but
Well,
I'll have to.
That's what I was wondering, because with the 16, the next one coming out, will any of this be automatically built into it? Would we have to upgrade by purchasing certain things? What's the connection there?
So the iOS will run on any phone. iOS 18, the one we're talking about this year, will run on any iPhone that iOS 17 runs on now, which is the 10R and newer, the SE second and third generation phones. Those will all accept iOS 18. The problem is that The AI specific features in iOS 18 will not be available to you. It won't be able to do any kind of AI stuff because it doesn't have the capacity to do that. So they'll just be unavailable.
Well, that's what I meant though, with the new phone coming out. I mean, right now 15, but it'll be the 16. Does the 16 have that built in, or is that
Yes.
something again?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, the 16 will be able we'll be able to run all of this, no problem. So this is what happens when they make major changes like that, and it requires a bigger amount of hardware that's not physically available on the phones that we have. So
Sounds expensive.
it does, it depends what your value is on them. I don't want to get into philosophical thing, but if you think you need it, or if you see other things that you need and it can make your life easier, it might be worth it. But just dollars and cents wise, I think I would hold off. I would actually wait a little bit, let the dust settle first before you climb on board. And that's what I'm going to do. Unless I have to upgrade, of course. So good question. Thank you. Any other questions or comments about this iOS 18 thing that I'm talking about?
I just have one comment. I'm on somebody else's plan that's a really good plan. And so I had bought an iPhone 11, and then when it was 2 years old, he talked me into upgrading to a 12 Pro Max. Well, I still had some money left to pay on my old phone, which he ended up paying that off. But I was still in the same position because I had to pay for the insurance for 2 years. So I might as well have upgraded.
Right. Yeah, I understand.
Would have been, and I never looked at it like that until about 3 months ago. So that's another factor to think about.
Yeah,
if you're going to have to pay for insurance anyway, you might as well upgrade.
Yeah, if you buy a phone, or you get a phone from a phone carrier, or someone, or you finance it somehow, usually the lender will require you to put full coverage insurance on it, just like a vehicle. And that could run 10, 15, I don't know how much insurance runs per month, but that'll add to the cost of your phone. I don't know if this makes a difference, but Apple offers a 24-month zero interest kind of thing, where if you make your payments on time every month, boom, 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 you'll never be charged a dime of interest. Whatever you pay for the phone is exactly what you pay over 24 months, and there's no charges or anything like that. That's their way of lightening the load of a purchase. It doesn't, to me, excuse the fact that they're expensive and they're requiring us to upgrade. I still don't like that. But
Nancy, this is Barbara. How much do you have to pay for insurance? I guess we lost her. Okay.
Yeah, I think, Barbara,
21.
typically,
I think it's like $21.
Yeah.
But I didn't keep the insurance because rather than paying for insurance, if my phone dies, I'll buy a new phone.
Ah, okay. So that's $41 a year or a month?
A month.
A month. Okay.
So did you say $21, Nancy?
I think that's what it is. But he's on a very old plan.
So
for that old plan,
on mine, I bought my iPhone 14 Pro Max last year, and I traded in my 10R for it. So they gave me a few $100 for it, or 100 something. And I ended up paying like $37 or $38 out the door over 24 months, which I'm still paying them for the unit, and no insurance required. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about how you want to buy one of these devices. If you want to buy one, it might be better that way. Your money goes towards the unit and not in some insurance company's hands.
Exactly. So I'll cross that bridge when I come to it.
Yeah.
Things change all the time.
The funny thing is, these things aren't cheap, but when you think about what they replace, and I'm not going to sit here and be Apple's flag waver here, but when you think about everything that these phones do, in the palm of your hand, You don't need any other electronic digital devices at all. You don't need TVs, you don't need anything at all. Cameras, nothing. You got it all right here in the palm of your hand. And when you think about it that way, what it replaces, it's almost a bargain. But if you have this plus everything else, then of course it's just another expensive item in your house. So 6 of this, half a dozen of another. It just depends on how you feel about paying that kind of money and what return on investment you get by paying that much. It's a decision, to be made. So how much
Manny, it's Maggie again too.
I make.
Along your line of what you were saying, my phone never leaves my hand. It's
Yes.
not, yeah, I mean, if I go across the room, my phone's with me. Because I use it for things other than phone.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at it that way, I mean, it takes me across streets, it finds places for me, it reads things, it tells me what colors things are. I mean, so many things that technically aren't phone, but they are.
Yeah.
Oh, we're
So
spoiled.
Go ahead, sorry.
We're spoiled.
Yeah, you're right. and I rationalize it that way too, Maggie and Nancy. I look at it, and I won't have a long thing on this, but think about the TVs you purchased in the past, these big TVs, even the CRT ones, the boxy ones, they were like $400 and $500 always or up, and that's way back. And these Apple phones, if you adjust for inflation, are much cheaper than that. If you adjust for inflation, okay. And what it replaces is amazing. It's not just a thing to watch programming, but you do everything on it. You banking and everything, getting an Uber, ordering food, on and on and on. All the things we ever talk about in these classes. So yeah, the sticker sheet is one thing, but the usefulness is another. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Plus, I mean, we used to have to go to the bank constantly. I'd pay my credit card bills on my phone. I do so many things.
Yes, me too.
And if I saw better, I'd do even more. I try to watch movies on the television.
I hear you.
Have one.
Yes.
Today my television was acting funny, and I said, if it breaks, oh boy, I don't want to buy another television.
That's right. Yeah. So there you have it. And thanks for the comments and questions. That was really good. Any more comments or questions about this? Any beefs or gripes about that?
No.
All right. So
I don't. No.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Okay. Let me go down. So now we're going to hit the topics. So the first topic is one that I experienced when teaching Barbara lately. She turned me on to this Be My Eyes for your computer. So those of you who have a Windows computer, you can download the Be My Eyes app for your desktop or laptop computer. And it does the same thing that it does on the phone. Well, kind of the same thing. And what it does is if you have a picture on the screen or the screen itself, you can send it to Be My Eyes for analysis. And it can simplify, like maybe you go to Amazon and you say, okay, what's on the screen here in Amazon? It looks like there's a zillion things there. And it will summarize it for you. If you send it a picture, it'll describe it for you. It'll make websites that have pictures that are not really described very well. It'll actually fill in the gap. And it works very well. Integrates well. They give you some new keystroke combinations, Control Alt H and L and some other ones. So you can, when you're on something, it'll actually kick in and recognize it for you. So if you have a desktop computer, that might be an option for you to have, so you can hear more things on your computer. Because unfortunately, yeah.
Barbara here. You have to get it from the Microsoft store.
That's right. Yes. So what you do is you open the Microsoft store and you type in the search bar, Be My Eyes, and it'll be right there in its results. And then you just say get or install or whatever it's called. You do that, and then it'll be available when you run it. It'll be available to recognize things on your screen. So there's that. And historically, laptops and desktops have lagged far behind the iPhone when it comes to this kind of stuff. And this kind of helps give them a leg up. Like if you like using your desktop computer for things, then you can also recognize images and screens there as well. So, and it's the same name program called Be My Eyes, and look for that in the Microsoft Store, and it's free. So, any questions or comments on Be My Eyes for your Windows machine? Okay, let me go to the next thing. All right, next thing is show and tell, guys. Always my favorite part of the thing. This week, I don't have a really techno gadget. Well, I wouldn't call it non-techno, but it is a gadget that we can use. So for those of you who pour your own, who don't have servants, and you pour your own coffee and your drinks, they have this little gadget out there called a liquid level detector. And I got one of these at Amazon. And what it looks like, it's a 9-volt battery with a little cap on it, and then it's got some of these little metal, I would call them electrodes, and those things go into the inside of your cup, and then the battery part goes on the outside of your cup. And when any kind of liquid, anything at all, comes in between these two electrode things, this thing will beep and tell you that the level is up. And it's very loud. It's good for the hearing impaired. So what I've done is I've already filled a cup with water, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to immerse the electrodes in, and you'll hear it beep saying that, oh yeah, it's already full. But if this thing were empty, it wouldn't beep at all. And these electrode pieces are just like a fork or a spoon or knife. They're coated with very safe stuff, so it won't contaminate your liquid. And you should wipe them down every time you use it, just alcohol swab or something clean, just to get the liquid stuff off. And then just put it back on the counter or wherever you put it when you're done. So let me find my cup of water that I'm using. Okay, here it is. So for those of you who can see, I have a solo cup full of water. You can't see the level, but it's like a quarter of an inch from the top. And on your left side of the screen, I'm holding the device, and I have the cup near the device. Now I'm going to put it in there. I got to get ready because it's kind of loud. It kind of scares me sometimes. So get ready. I'm gonna immerse the electrodes into the water, and it should make a noise. So here we go. I'm just going. Here we go. You guys hear that?
No.
You didn't hear that? It's loud. Okay. Wonder why it didn't come. Let me try it again. You hear that?
No. It's Maggie, Manny. It doesn't come through at all.
Okay. Well,
I didn't hear it at all.
I can tell you it's loud. It even scares me. And it lasts a long time with this 9-volt battery. Now, if I were to drink some of this water and put it in, and it wouldn't make a sound at all. So let me just do that just for fun. So I'm gonna do that. I think I lowered it. Let me see. Yeah. So now I hang it off the side here, and it doesn't beep because the water level is below the top. Before, when I put it in there, it would beep because the water level is high. If I take the water level and I just orient it towards the guys here, the electrodes, it should beep, I think. Maybe not. There it goes. Yeah. So I'm surprised that some of you can't hear this beep. It's very loud. I mean, it even scares me, like I said. So anyway, this thing is available at Amazon. It's less than $20, and it should last forever because it's just a very simple device. And I'll put in the notes, I'll put the link to the one I got. It's got an orange top. It came with a Duracell battery. And then of course, it's just a piece of plastic with two food safe kind of electrodes that go into the water or the coffee or whatever it is. And it can do any liquid, coffee, water, milk, whatever. It'll do anything. And it'll keep you from pouring too much into a cup. It'll tell you before you get it too high. So that's what that is. That's a liquid detector, and it's for the visually impaired blind people. So it's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So
Manny, can you bring that when you come for the lesson next week?
yeah, I can bring it with me, sure. Yeah. So before I get off the subject, typically the way you would use that, if I did a full-blown demonstration, like if I were to go to TSB in a meeting and do it right there in front of you guys, I would have my hands free, right? And then I would put maybe a coffee cup in front of me. I'd have a carafe of hot coffee in one hand, and I would put the unit into the coffee cup, an empty coffee cup, and I would start pouring the coffee in there. And as soon as I hear the beeping sound, I would stop pouring, and my coffee would be very close to full. And then you could take it out, and then you have a full cup of coffee without spilling it all over the place. And that's
Can
what
you
it's designed
set
to do.
that so that, you said it's a quarter of an inch from the top, say you wanted a half inch or an inch, can you reset that?
I don't think so. It only does up to about an eighth to a quarter inch from the rim. So you're going to have to pour it not too fast, and you gotta be able to stop it quick. You know, when you're pouring coffee, you're not pouring it like really fast anyway. But you want to pour it in a way so you can stop it in a quick enough way to not overflow. I
Hey,
think
Manny.
about a quarter inch. Yeah.
It's Patty.
Hey, Patty.
Hi.
This is my lovely assistant, everybody.
Hello. Maxiates has it in different heights and different
Oh.
whatever. So, and then not as loud as yours.
Mhm.
Some of them they vibrate, and some of them sing a little song instead of that. It's a very, very loud, shocking one that you got.
Yeah, it scares me when I'm not ready for it. It's so loud. But
Yeah.
it's good for hearing impaired persons, you know.
Yeah, and like I said, they have the one that just vibrates, so people could they can't hear could still
Yeah.
do that.
What would be really good, Patty, is maybe we get together and you can show me some of those, and I can put them in the notes that I publish after the class. Put them in there along with this loud one. And for like hearing impaired folks, I think mine would be really good for them. But if you don't want it blasting like that, you can get like a softer one, because this one's not adjustable. It's just bare bones, loud and proud kind of thing. So yeah, thank you. That'll be great. So any more questions on that? All right, we're gonna go on to the next thing here. Okay, so Barbara wanted me to show you a new link to another news agency. That is CNN. So let me get my phone here so I can find it. So in the past we've gone over the K-Gun app and Smart News and all this stuff. So CNN has a site where you can see their stuff, and I think it's called live.cnn.com. I'm going to verify that. Let me check it real quick.
7 p.m.
Don't go away. Let me see here.
Wednesday, June 18th.
Get my volume up on my phone so you guys can hear.
Safari.
All right, there we go.
Double tap to open.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to open up Safari.
Address. Search or enter website. Text field.
I think it's called Live CNN.
Address. Search or address.
Live.cnn.com.
Inserted live.cnn.com. Go. Open menu icon. Button. Navigation. Landmark. View the latest news and breaking news today for you. World, weather, entertainment.
So what you do is and I'll put the link into the body of the email. It's a website. It's not an app. It's not anything like that. And the best way to get to the latest news on this platform on CNN is to create a shortcut to the website on one of your home screens. So let me do that now. Hold on a second. I'll step you through that one at a time.
Apps with Safari, closing
Let me
Safari.
close that up for a second here. Hold on.
Search, page 1 of 4, page 2, CNN,
Okay.
Safari. Address, live.cnn.com, secure, text field.
Okay, so it's live.cnn.com. So we're at the site. And the site is very well laid out, believe it or not. It's not a complicated site like on Amazon or something like that. So I'm going to do a couple of swipes so you can hear a few things. And then I'm going to show you how to put it on one of your home screens. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to swipe to the right.
Refresh, button. CNN, visited, 6/18 latest stories, bullet, baseball icon Willie Mays, one of the game's most electrifying and complete players, has died at 93, link.
Oh, that's sad. Okay,
Oh,
so we'll go to the next one just for fun.
Bullet. At least one reported dead in New Mexico as 2 wildfires burn near communities. Officials say, link.
And we'll do one more. And this just gets you a gist of how quick the news comes up. You don't have to go swipe, 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 swipe to get there. I just swiped a few times and I'm already on the story, the headlines. Let's go to another headline.
Bullet. U.S. blasts aggressive China over South China Sea collision with Philippine ship.
Okay.
Link.
All right, so to add this to your home screen, it's much like the way you do it for, I don't know if you guys remember the audio vault thing we did in the past about 6 months ago. You do the same thing. So you're going to go down to your toolbar on Safari and you're going to open up the share option. You can just drag your finger around and you'll find the toolbar. I'm going to do that so you guys can hear me.
State Trump tells Wisconsin Eugene Weinman, Justin Timberlake toolbar, forward, dimmed, button.
So you have about 5 controls on this toolbar. There's back and forward, there's share, and then bookmarks, and then tabs, I believe. Once I get on the toolbar, I just swipe over to the left or right to get to the share option. I'm gonna swipe to the right.
Share.
Right
button.
there. I'm gonna share.
Page settings, button, breaking.
You get a standard share sheet, right? I'm not gonna share it with somebody, so I'm gonna kind of skip over, sharing with the people around me and texting and messages and other apps. I'm gonna go down to the menu below that, which is down here.
Copy, button.
So I'm gonna go down, just copy.
Add to reading list, add bookmark, add to favorites, add to quick note, find on page, add to home screen.
There you go.
So you go add to home screen. So I'm
Screen.
gonna double tap on that, right?
And text field is editing. Breaking news. Latest news and videos. Vertical line CNN. Character mode.
Well,
Insertion point at end.
I don't want my icon to
Use
say
the
all of
rudder
that.
to
That's
access
way
this
too
doc-
much. I just want it to say, CNN. I don't need it to say anything else. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna back all that out. I'm just gonna hit the backspace key.
Cap N. Cap N. New. Breaking.
And then I'm just going to dictate the letters in. So let me do that now. CNN.
Inserted CNN.
And then what I do is I tap on this
Add. Button.
add button. And when I do that, it'll add to my screen. And that's all I do. And then when I do that, let me do it.
Cancel.
Oops.
Add to home screen. Heading.
Hang on.
Cancel. Button.
I'm gonna go back.
Breaking news. Latest news and CNN.
So now if I go to my home screen,
Clue maps.
there's clue maps, and then
Double tap
there's
to open. ADP mobile.
my ADP retirement stuff, and
Double
then
CNN.
CNN right there.
Double tap to
If I
open.
double tap on it,
Safari.
Safari.
Trump tells Wisconsin voters
there's-
I love Milwaukee after his home.
So we're back on the CNN website. And this is a very good website as far as the layout. It really is laid out nice. It's not a bunch of junk everywhere. I couldn't believe it. I was expecting a nightmare, but no, looking good. So that's how you do that. And you can do that with any web link. You can put them on a home page, one of your home screens. So any questions on that?
No. So are you gonna move it app now to your first
Yeah,
home
we could do
screen
that.
page?
Yeah, let's do that.
Because it didn't come
Notification
up on the
list.
first one.
Now. Dismiss.
Okay, so I'm gonna
6/18/2024.
get this thing to stop talking. I'm gonna close Safari. And now, I was gonna do this later, but let's do it now since we're on the subject. Now I can take that link, and let's say I want to move it to the first page. I think it put it on the second page because that was the only open spot I had. But let's say I want to move it over to the first page just for fun. So let me close Safari,
CNN.
or just put it in the background. So I am on,
Search. Page 2 of 4. Adjustable.
so I'm on page 2, but
Active.
I want to have that on my first page of home screen icons, or it could be a third page or whatever page. But I'm going to put it on the first page just for fun. So you have to go into edit mode. And so what you do is you highlight or you put focus with a one finger touch on the CNN icon that I just created. So let me get over there. I'm going to explore by touch here.
80p mobile. CNN.
Okay, there's CNN.
Double tap to open.
Now, if you remember how we did it before, I'm going to swipe up to go into edit mode. I'm swiping up with one finger.
Edit mode.
Double tap.
Started editing.
Now I'm going to go to a drag operation. So I got to find the drag option. Swiping up.
Activate.
No,
All.
not that.
Drag CNN.
I'm going to drag CNN.
Gun 9 is editing.
Okay. Now
Double tap to add to drag.
I've initiated the drag of the CNN icon. Now I need to go to the page where I want to drag it to. Okay. So I'll go down to my little pager guy down here, and I'll use my finger to find it.
80p mobile. It search. Page 2 of 5. Adjustable.
So I'm going to go to page,
Activate to open spotlight.
whatever page.
Swipe up to page 3 of
Page,
5.
page 3, okay. And then I just put my finger on one of the icons. I find an icon where I want to place it. So I'll just go up from the bottom here.
Bookshare reader is editing. Character mode.
So Bookshare reader.
Double
Now,
tap to add to drag. Actions available.
So
Drops available.
so now what I want to do, once I find a place where I want to put it, I'll swipe up and it'll give me some options. So let's hear those.
Cancel drag.
Okay, we don't want to do that.
Create new folder with Bookshare reader and CNN.
We don't
Drop
want to
ready.
combine them in a folder, no.
Drop CNN before Bookshare reader.
I can-
Drop ready.
Drop it before, and I think I have an option to drop it after. Let me see.
Add to drag session. Stop editing apps. Add to drop CNN before Bookshare reader.
It only
Drop
does-
ready.
It only does it before. So you have to put it on the icon after where you want it to be. So I'm going to put it before. I'm going to do that now.
Drop complete.
And there it is. It's right on the page.
Audiovault.net
And then
is editing.
Bookshare.
Bookshare reader is at
And that's how you drag apps or shortcut icons around your home screens for a visual kind of organization. Another thing you can do, what's really cool with this, is not only dragging, but let's say that you have a lot of apps that have to do with social media, and you don't want to have them on a bunch of different screens or screen by themselves.
finished editing.
You can put them in folders. You know, you can have a folder called social media, and you could have, you know, Signal and Facebook and WhatsApp and TikTok, blah, blah, blah. You can have a bunch of them in there, and they won't take up all that screen space. And you can still open them with the S Lady, and they'll be inside of a folder that's nice and clean looking. And you can do that with all different kinds of apps. In fact, if you go to the very last page here, if you go to your app library, it kind of does that. It kind of groups all your apps into different categories. And that might be a good way to group them into folders on the screen. So you can get down to one home screen and in a bunch of folders. It really would be nice there. So anyway, that's just an idea if you guys are interested in that.
Okay, and then Manny, how do you stop it from editing?
Oh, I'm sorry. It'll time out like it did on me, or if you have an SE phone, you just press and release the home button quickly and it'll end the editing session. Or if you have the other kind of phone like mine with the Face ID cameras, no home button, you have to do the home gesture, which is a drag from the middle bottom and 2 haptic pulses, pop, pop, and then that's the home gesture, and then that will and the editing session as well. It's really good for organization purposes. It's something you ought to practice if you're not good at it yet. That way you can get your screens, your home screens, get it to as few as possible or as many as you want, but you'll be able to control how they look and what's on there. With iOS 18, one of the features I didn't mention before, you're going to be able to drag your icons around like they do on the Android phones. And what I mean by that is that on the iPhone, no icon may touch another icon. Thou shalt not do that because it's set up in a grid format. And then on the Android, you can have icons touching each other. You could have them one over the other. You could have half of one covering another one, and your screen could look like a bunch of messy stuff if that's what you like. On the iPhone currently, you can't do that. You only can put one icon in one square of the screen at a time. So they're going to change that so you can have more flexibility in the way your screen looks. That's one of the other things. So not a big deal for us because we're not really big visual folks, but if you have a lot of vision and you want your screen to look a certain way, that'll be nice for you. You can then just move them around where you want, So any questions on that? All right, we're gonna head on to the next thing, guys. Let's see here. All right, so how many people know about the iPhone shake to undo feature? Has anybody ever used that?
Yes.
All right, we got one. Okay, so the rest of you are going to learn something tonight. So shake to undo is on by default. So if you make a mistake on something, let's say you dictate something and oops, I didn't want to dictate that, but I don't want to use the backspace key to erase it. You can just shake your phone a few times and it will undo that. You'll get a dialogue. It'll say, you want to undo dictation or whatever. So I'm going to show you that now. By the way, that setting, you can be toggled on or off because if people who have like the shakes would cause the phone to do that by accident. And some people will have to turn that off if you have a nervous hand or something like that. So you go to settings, accessibility, and touch, and it's called shake to undo. That should be on by default, but you could turn it off if you so desire. All right, so let me do something and then shake the phone so you can hear it with the undo stuff. So
7:21 p.m.
let's go there.
Magnifier.
So I'm going to go into my text messages.
Doc. Messages. 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 Conversations. Chica Green. Messages. Your iMessage.
All right.
Message.
So
iMessage.
let's say that I'm going to send Chica Green something here.
Message. Text field is editing. iMessage.
All right. So I'm going to dictate something in there now. So let me do that. I'll do a double tap with 2 fingers. Hey there, Ellipsis. What's up? Question mark.
Inserted hey there, what's up?
Okay, now if I want to undo that, I just shake my phone.
Alert. Undo dictation.
And if I swipe to the right.
Cancel button.
So if I cancel, it'll leave it in there.
Undo
I
button.
undo it.
Hey there, what's up?
So now if I go back to the place where I'm dictating, there's nothing in there.
Message. Text field is editing. iMessage. Character mode. Insertion point at start.
There's nothing in there. And you can do that like if you're dictating into a message or like a message like I did or an email, or if you did something, you can undo the last thing. It's like a Control-Z on a Windows computer. You can undo that. And you just shake your phone and you'll get the dialogue and then it'll ask you if you really want to undo things. Kind of a nice thing for a quick undo. And so any questions on that feature? All right, we're going to keep going. All right. So something that that Barbara and I went over the other day, I think it was last week, is you can use the S Lady to take selfies, those pictures of yourself, like if you want to send them to a family member or something. And all you do is you just tell her to take a selfie. And what it'll do is it will open the camera app up. It will put the camera into selfie mode, which is the camera facing you, the one facing you, not the one facing out away from you. And then VoiceOver will guide you into centering your face, and then you can press like the lower volume button to snap the picture. So I'm gonna demonstrate that now. So let me just do that. So I'm gonna close this message out just for fun here.
Dog. Messages.
All right, so here's how you do it. Siri, take a selfie.
Off.
Okay,
0 people. A person wearing a white tilt left.
tilt
One
left.
face centered. Off.
And there it
One
is.
face near bottom left.
So now I did that. It was so easy. And you
Messages.
don't have to worry about finding the shutter on the screen. You just use one of the volume buttons and you just listen to VoiceOver. It says, tilt and face not centered, face in center. And once you get that centered thing, you can then just press the volume button and it snaps the selfie and then you're done. So that's kind of an easy way to automate selfie pictures, instead of opening the camera, finding the camera chooser, switching it, it saved a little time and frustration, especially if you can't see the controls. Otherwise, when you open the camera, it's just going to be
Screen dim.
a camera facing away from you, and you can just take your surroundings. So, sorry, did I interrupt somebody? I didn't mean to talk over you. Okay. All right, let's see what's next.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I take pictures with the show, Alexa.
Oh, that's right.
I mean, the A lady. She just answered me over here.
Yeah.
But only with the show, you could take a picture of that of yourself right in front of it.
And you also, since I know Patty, she also has like a fob that she has on I don't know, like on an armband, and you can use one of those. You can get those at Amazon, like a little like a key fob kind of thing. And when you Bluetooth it to your phone, it can control your shutter, and you can point the camera anywhere, and then you can use your other hand to snap the shutter when you want to, or even begin a video recording. You can do all kinds of stuff like that. So there's lots of ways to operate the camera. The good thing for us, though, in my opinion, is that VoiceOver helps us center like people and objects, so we don't get like a picture that's slanted or people with their heads cut off and things like that. So that's kind of a cool thing, to be honest. Well, all right. Any questions about taking selfies or using fobs or voice or whatever to do that? If not, we're going to the next thing. So, you ever get a message from somebody or an email, and they've embedded a phone number that you need to use, like to call or to create a contact from, and you're wondering, how do I do that? How do I get into that message bubble or that message and get that number? Well, the answer is here, folks. I'm going to show you how. So let me see here. So I created a test message to Patty that's got a phone number in it. You guys will hear it, and then the phone number is going to be in there. I'm going to show you how you can lift that phone number out and use it. Okay, so let me do that now.
7:28 p.m.
Sorry, that's my lock screen talking.
Okay, babe, look,
Dog. Message.
Okay, here we go. So I'm going to go open up my messages.
Messages. Messages. Message.
Now the test message that I sent to Patty sounds like this, okay?
Messages. Your iMessage. This is a test text message that I want to use for the class. The phone number is 520-331-4682.
So when,
Link. 12:25 p.m.
So when a phone number is recognized in any kind of communication, especially textual communication, iOS will create a link under it. If it's not a properly formed phone number, then you won't get that link. Okay. So if the link is there, you can get to it. And the way you do that is you put focus on the message fragment, the bubble, and then you use the rotor to go to links. Okay, so I'm going to do that now. I'm going to go to the rotor and I'm going to go to link navigation, because that's what the phone number is right now in this text message. It's a link. I'm going to do that now.
Today,
Oops.
12:25
Wait a minute.
p.m. Your iMessage. Deliver. Your iMessage.
Sorry. Try that again.
Characters. Words. Speaking rate. Containers. Headings. Links.
Links. Okay, and I'm going to swipe down. I think that's the one we need.
5, 2, 0, 3, 3, 1, 4, 6, 8, 2.
All right, so
Link.
now I just have that.
Actions available.
I just have that phone number and that phone number only with focus from VoiceOver. The rest of the message, who knows? And what you can do is you can do what's called a long press, which for us VoiceOver users is a double tap and hold. For non-VoiceOver users, it's just a touch and hold. That's called a long press. I'm going to do that now. And you got to wait for the sound, and then you get a menu. So I'm going to do that.
5, 2, 0,
Okay.
3.
Now I got a whole menu of options of what I can do with that phone number. Okay. So I'm going to swipe.
Call Manny Celis. Mobile.
So it found that number in my contacts, and I already have a contact there. So that's why it said call my name, because that's my phone number. Okay, I'm going to keep going.
Send message. Button.
You can send a message to that number.
FaceTime.
FaceTime.
Button. FaceTime audio.
FaceTime audio.
New mail message.
I can even send a mail message, which is incredible. And that's probably because my contact also has my email, and it figured that out. So if I want to do an email message, it'll use the phone number to get to my contact, get to my email, and compose an email message. Kind of cool. I'm going to keep going.
WhatsApp. Button.
So if you have social media apps that are based on phone numbers, they'll show up in the list here too. We'll keep going.
Copy. Button.
Then you can just do a straight copy, well, copy the phone number as is into the clipboard so you can paste it somewhere.
Preview. Image.
And that's it. So it doesn't have an option to create a contact because it already found a contact in there. If that phone number was not in any of my contacts, I'd have an option to add to a new contact. It would allow me to add that and create a new contact. So that's how you use that. That's how you lift a phone number from textual communications, emails or text messages. So remember, long press. You have to navigate to the link and then long press it and hold on till you hear that sound, and then you're going to get a menu of options that I just got. So you can then use that number. And it's much better than trying to type it in or even speaking it. It's much easier this way to do it like that. And then you don't make any mistakes with the number. So, any questions on that? That also works, by the way, not just with phone numbers. It works with email. So let's say somebody puts an email into a text message to you. Say, oh, you can get a hold of Patty by email by going to blah 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 at gmail.com, and it'll underline that as a link. You can use the same link navigation, and then when you double tap and hold long press on that link, you're going to get email specific items that you can do. You can email them or whatever the case may be. And that way you don't ever have to type stuff in if you don't want to. But again, the sender has to properly form the phone numbers and email so that it can do this. It needs to know what kind of data that is. So I think it's kind of an interesting thing to do, to be able to lift this information without having to type it. In the old days, we'd have to type it out, and that was no fun, especially when you got visual impairment. All right, any questions on that? All right, keep going then. Let's see here. All right, so And this next subject here, Barbara wanted me to review reminders. Did you want to say something about that, Barbara, before I start? Was there anything special you wanted me to go over, or just review the screen, or are you looking at?
No, just how you have to double tap to complete it and that kind of stuff.
All right, let's go in.
7:34 p.m. Magnifier. App switch closing message closing Sephora.
Okay, so for review, reminders are sort of like the old list you used to keep on your refrigerator, or like it would say, call this person, or maybe you have a grocery list, or do this at 7 o'clock tomorrow night, whatever. You put it on Post-it notes or on a list. Well, this app has replaced that for you in a digital format. Now you could also keep events in there, because you can create reminders that are date time specific, and that kind of overlaps with calendar functions. You could do that if you'd like. Let's say you're kind of a visual person and you want to see your reminders in just one little list in front of you, and you don't want to have them in a big calendar where you got to find them or ask the S lady. That might be a good thing for you to put them there. There's no wrong way of doing things, but so I'm going to go into reminders and do that.
7:35 p.m.
And let's do that. Siri, open reminders.
Reminders, share list button.
All right. So the reminders app, let me get to the front door of reminders, okay? Because reminders can be individual reminders that are just like list items, like whatever, it could be just a note to yourself. It doesn't matter what it is. Or it could be a reminder list, like a grocery list. Or it could be a reminder that's a date and time based kind of thing. I just mentioned, like call Johnny tomorrow at 7 p.m. That's another thing. Okay. So let's go and look at the categories of reminders. I think I'm in one of my lists right now. So let me get back to
lists, back button, list, more button.
So the reminders app is structured very simply. It's very simple screen, which is good. So at the very top,
more button,
you have a more button.
Search field.
You can search through all your reminders, obviously.
Double tap to dictate today. 0 remind.
So for your date time based reminders, they'll go under today. So I have some reminders that I have to pay TMC a monthly amount for that surgery that I had in Thanksgiving of last year. I'm paying off in payments, and I have to send them money every month. This is a good way to track that. So I set up recurring reminders, and what it does is every month, in the middle of the month, a reminder comes up and says you got to pay them. And then as soon as I do it, I clear that reminder, and a new reminder will come up next month. And that's kind of a great way to keep track of stuff and keep track of it. I could have done that in calendars too, but that's not really an appointment. It's more of a thing that I need to do, not a place I need to be. So that's your time and date based reminders go there. I have 0 right now. I don't, because I did all the ones this month. Let me see.
Today, 0 reminders. June 18th, today.
Sorry. So the left side is the category of reminders, and then the right side is how many are due. So let's go to the next thing here.
Schedule. 3 reminders button.
So
double tap to view list.
Scheduled reminders are not reminders that are due right now, but they are ones that are on a date time scheduled. Okay, like the thing I just mentioned, the TMC payments that I'm making. That is a scheduled reminder, meaning that it has a date and time component to it. So there's 3 of them there. Okay. And I won't go into my personal schedule reminders, but know they're there, and that's what they're there for. So let me keep going.
All 29 reminders button.
So all reminders, obviously, it's everything you got. So that's your scheduled reminders, That's your individual reminders. That's all the reminders on all of your lists, your grocery list, your to-do list, your whatever list that you have. Those, everything. You can see them all in one view, all 29 of them. So I'll keep going.
Flagged. 0 reminders.
So after you make reminders, you can then further put a filtering mechanism on them by flagging them. You can give them an importance flag or whatever it is, or a special color, like these reminders are red, these reminders are blue, or and you can categorize them that way. It gives you a way to filter out certain reminders based on how you flag them. So keep going.
Completed button. Double tap to view list. Actions available.
This doesn't give a number, but what it does is it gives you a historical perspective of all the tasks that you've ever put in that you've completed, that you've marked as complete. Because they appear as pending tasks until you mark them as complete. So let's say I'm supposed to call Barbara, and I have that as a task. It's going to remain an open reminder until I mark it as complete or delete it. And if I mark it as complete, it will end up in this completed file with all the other completed tasks that I did. So, and that's why these categories exist, so you could find a task very easy. Because someone else who uses a lot of reminders would have a lot more reminders in these separate categories, and you can find them quickly. So we're going to keep going because there's a little more.
Siri suggestions. 1 reminder button.
So these are reminders that Siri thinks you should look at based on your usage of your phone and your habits. It's kind of weird, but I haven't looked at this reminder to see what it's suggesting. I guess we could open it up and see what it's suggesting. I have no idea, but I'm afraid to even look at it, but let's see.
Siri suggestions. List more button.
Here we go.
Bring the remote shutter bug. March 27, 2023. Overdue. Found in messages with Barbara McPherson.
Oh, so this was one that I set up a long time ago that I didn't ever complete. So it's in there and it's under Siri suggestions. So that's odd. So I'm not sure why that is, but okay.
List. Siri suggestions.
So there's one in there. So let's keep going.
My lists. Heading.
Okay, so now that's all of the individual categories. There's about 6 or 8 of them on the screen. And then you have groups of reminders called lists. So I got a few of those, and I won't go into all the lists. We'll just go into one of them because they're all the same, just with different titles. Okay, so
reminders. 7 reminders. List badge. Orange.
So I tagged.
Double tap to view list.
I tagged 7 reminders with the orange flag. Okay, that's what that is. Okay, keep going.
Grocery. 6 reminders. List badge.
So there's 6 reminders in groceries. These are items that I still need to pick up at the grocery store. If I were to open that up, you would see what I have to go buy. And then I could always add new items. I would say, S lady, add apples to my grocery list. And it would then add another reminder to this reminder list called grocery. And then you could say, mark apples as completed on my grocery list. And then it'll mark that as completed. And then that'll come off the list. So, and basically that's pretty much the long and the short of reminders. You can go into the detail of a reminder, and you can change its date and time. You can change its location designation. You can do all that stuff. So I don't know, Barbara, did you want me to show any of that?
No. The only thing you need to show me is you double tap to complete the task.
Okay, so there's 2 ways to complete a task, like Barbara was talking about. I'm going to go to that Siri suggestion one, and I'm going to complete that task, okay? So let's go back up to the Siri suggestions right up here somewhere.
Siri suggestions. 1 reminder button.
Okay, so I'm going to go in there.
Double tap. Bring the remote shutter bug. March 27.
So all you do is you just double tap to complete it, I believe.
Siri suggest. Bring the remote shutter bug. March 27. 2023. Overdue. Bring the remote shutter button.
So, and when you double tap it, it marks it as complete. You can also do it with your voice, like I just said. You can say, hey, lady, mark bring remote shutterbug as complete, and it'll do that. It'll mark it just like if you tapped it. There's 2 ways to do that. So whatever you're more comfortable with.
Siri suggest lists, back list, more.
And that's basically what I had for reminders. They're pretty simple because it's just list of text. It's really all it is. It really doesn't go too much deeper than that. I did talk about location-based reminders before, where you can mark a GPS location somewhere, wherever you're at. And when you get to it, a reminder could come up and say, hey, you're at this place. You know, let's say it's a place that you're not sure about, or a place that you marked in your reminders. It'll tell you you're there, you know, that kind of stuff. And if you do a reminder for a date and time, of course, it'll respect that date and time and remind you at that point. And once it goes past that date and time, it'll consider it past due, and it'll tell you that. It'll say on the reminder past due. So it's kind of a nifty little feature in the iPhone. And they're going to do something, by the way, with reminders and calendars to have them talk better to each other. So they realize that there's a lot of overlap between these 2 apps. And I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but there's something coming down the line in iOS 18 relative to reminders and calendars. So I will keep a lookout for that and get you some better information, but expect changes there. So any more questions about reminders and how to clear them, complete them? Okay. So let me go to the next thing. So another thing that Barbara wanted me to show you guys is for those Netflix users, you have a thing called My List. And these are the shows that you have deemed that you have put on your list. So when you find a show that you like, you can open its detail and you can play it. And if you go further down, you can add it to your list, or if it's on your list, you can remove it from your list. And your list is kind of a shortcut of the shows you really like a lot and you want to be able to group them quickly without having to do a search for them. So let me go into Netflix and I'll show you how to get to My List very quickly, because it exists in 2 places. And there's one place is easy to get to, and the other place it's hard to get to. So, and it's not intuitive, trust me. I got bit by that one before. So let me see here.
7:46 p.m.
Come on.
Reminder, magnifier. Apps, closing reminders.
Okay, Siri, open Netflix.
Netflix. Loading. The Case of the Golden Idol. Category.
All right, so here we are at Netflix. There are 3 tabs at the bottom. Normally, all you would need to do is go to the Home tab.
Selected. Home. Tab. 1 of 3.
And your My List will be in there, but I found that it's really hard to find your list because they put so much stuff on the home screen. Your list gets buried, and sometimes VoiceOver can't even get to it. They arrange it in a way where VoiceOver can't run into it easily. So what we discovered in one of the classes, that the best way to get to your list is to go to the 3rd tab. So we're going to go to the 2nd tab real quick, and then the 3rd.
New and hot. Tab. 2 of
So
3.
that's not it.
My Netflix. Tab. 3 of 3.
So My Netflix is the 3rd tab, and all you do is you double tap on that.
My Netflix.
And when it comes up, the focus is going to be on the heading, I believe. Let's see.
My Netflix.
So we keep going. So go to the right.
Search button. App settings. Manuel. Active. But notifications. Downloads. 1 TV shows and movies. Gilmore Girls. The Dirt. Button. Perfume. Longmire. Button. TV shows and movies you've locked. Downloads.
So did they change this since I
And within My List.
My List?
There
So
it is.
I thought they changed it again. I go, what? So it took about 10 swipes to the right.
Right, yeah.
And then here's My List. If you keep swiping, I'll just do 1 or 2 of them. I probably have shows you guys don't like too much. Let me see here.
Sweet Tooth. Button.
So Sweet Tooth,
House of Cards.
House of
Button.
Cards,
The Umbrella Academy.
The Umbrella
Button.
Academy. So there's a few other ones there. And that's how you get to your list. And if you tap on those, let's say that I want to get rid of the Umbrella Academy on my list. Okay. So I'm on that one. I would double tap it.
Close button.
I found an easier way.
Okay.
Nanny, you just, on the top of your list, there's an edit button. And you just hit the edit button and you can delete it right then and there.
Oh, okay. That's the second way. It's probably the easier way. Okay, well, let me show this one and I'll show the second one too. So when you bring up the detail for the movie, you can play it here. You can do a lot of stuff. I'm gonna go past all of the stuff, where you can play it and just get down there.
Download. Season 1, Episode 5. Remaining time 5. Lex Luthor and cast. Elliot Page, Tom Hopper, David Cobb, more button. Creator, Steve Black. Added to my list button.
So right here,
Remove from my list.
this button says remove from my list. That's one way of doing it, by opening up the icon, double tapping on it, and then swiping about 15-20 times down to that. Of course, you can do a lot of other things too. This is a very big screen. So let's not do it that way. Let's do it the way that Barbara talked about. So I'm going to go back out of here and find the
Close button. The Umbrella Academy button.
So we go to my list.
My list. 11 items button. Heading.
So I think what you do is you tap on the My List heading button. And let's see what happens.
My list. Games button. Dismiss pop-up. Activate to dismiss pop-up window. My list. Keep track of games to add game. Close. Close button.
Maybe that wasn't it. I thought I had that right. Let me
I
just-
think you just go
Dismiss
to the
pop-up.
left to the edit button.
I'm sorry. Let me try that. Hang on. I haven't done it this way, so I'm trying it for the first time.
The Umbrella Academy button. My list. 11 Sweet Tooth button. House of The Umbrella Academy. Explore image. Activate. Explore image. Activate. Default. The Umbrella Academy button.
I don't know how to do it your way, Barbara. I'm sorry. I don't see it.
Oh, the edit's not coming up. You swipe to the left and it didn't come up.
No, it just has, and now I'm going to cheat with my vision just to shortcut this because we're kind of diagnosing it now. So according to Barbara, there was be an edit button up here.
There's
where
an
you
edit
can-
button. I don't know if it's to the left or the right of my list, and then you can edit the whole thing. It was wonderful.
You can do it without going into it. So I'm going to look for that.
Right.
And in the notes, I'll make a correction to this because obviously I couldn't do it here in front of you guys. So it's live and unscripted, by the way. So here we go. So the first way we know works, but then I'll look for that second way to make sure I have that in the notes because I'm not seeing an edit button. And when I'm swiping, I can't get to it for some reason. But I will investigate that and make sure that that's in the notes. So sorry, guys. Any questions about Netflix or getting to your list? All right, I'm going to keep going then. Let's see what we got next. What is next here? Oh, okay. Here's something a little different that I wanted to do in this class. Now, you guys have heard about these phone service codes, right? You have like 911 for emergency services, 411 for directory services. But there are 7 others. And I don't know if you're aware of that, but you can dial from 111 all the way to 911 and get all kinds of services. So I wanted to just go over them real quick. And these work on your home phone, landlines, and they also work on your mobile phones. So I won't go into too much detail about each one because there's 9 of them. And one of them and maybe 2 or 3 of them you might have heard of before. Excuse me. All right, so if you were to dial, excuse me, let me get a drink of water here real quick. Hang on a second. Okay, if you were to dial 111, that would put you in touch with a medical advisor. So let's say that you wake up one day and you had this weird looking growth on your arm, or you got a spot or something, and it's not an emergency thing, you're not feeling bad or anything. you could call this number up and get a medical advisor to help you diagnose what it is. And of course, if it turns out that you need a higher acuity kind of care, like an urgent care or maybe emergency care, well, then they would help you get to that place so that you get it solved, whatever the issue is. And so that's for medical stuff. You can ask them if you have like even pills or drugs there that you're using, some kind of pharmaceutical, and you're not sure about interactions and what, these people can help you with that to be sure you'll be okay. Okay. So that's 111. 211 is assistance with housing, utility bills, and for the homeless. This is kind of what this company in town called Direct Center for Independence, they do that. But 211 is the number you call to get assistance. Like if you need help with that stuff, you can get put in touch with the resources to help you pay bills or find housing or whatever the case may be. That's what that number is dedicated for helping the community out. 311 is the non-emergency version of 911. So instead of calling 911 for something, you can call this one. And if you have something that's alarming but not emergency, you can call this number and get help there. That's service.
Yeah,
Manny,
we
Manny,
learned that one.
if you are on Cox cable, the 311 does not work.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you, Barbara.
It doesn't work. So what you have to do is call 791-4444.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It doesn't work, and it didn't work on my iPhone either. So that's the number. It's 791-4444, and of course you need the 520 in the front of it.
Hang on a second, Barbara. I'm gonna just type. I'm sorry, guys. I want to type this into my notes so I don't forget this, because I will forget it by tomorrow. Because I'm so absent-minded. Let's see here.
So what was that? That 311 doesn't work for what?
Doesn't work for Cox Cable. Like my landline is sponsored by Cox Cable.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I tried
and
it
like
after
Annie's is on Cox. There's a lot of us on Cox Cable.
Mm-hmm.
So give me that number one more time, Barbara. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. So it's 520-791-4444.
Okay, thank you. Okay, it's in the notes, so it'll be on, well, when I publish this, that'll be there. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Okay, any questions about this 311 thing? That's supposed to be a non-emergency number, server, whatever you want to call it. It's not as like a 911 thing, but it's something lower than that. So 411, we discussed that. That is a directory assistance with to get whatever you need there. 511, okay, that is traffic conditions. So, and that's not going to apply to us much because we shouldn't be driving. At least that's what the state told me, that I can't drive. So I don't know what they're talking about. They recommended that I never get behind a vehicle again. 611 is your phone company's service number. So let's say you're with AT&T or you're with whoever, T-Mobile. You go 611 and you're going to get customer service for your provider. Sorry, did somebody say something? I didn't mean to overtalk. Okay. 711 is the TDD hearing services line. So people who are deaf or hard of hearing, they can use that service to get in touch with whatever they need. So it's specifically for hard of hearing deaf people. So there we go. Let's see what's next here. 811. So if you're going to do a project in your yard and you need to dig, you can call this number and the utility companies will come out and they will spray paint on the places where you cannot dig, where there's pipes and there's whatever. And that way you don't have a bad accident by piercing a water line or electricity or whatever. So, and of course, the 911 is the one we all know, emergency services. But it's kind of cool to have those. There's other ones too, but I just wanted to get the 1-1 guys today and let you guys know about that for those of you who didn't know. And I'll publish these in the notes. So, any questions on that? All right, you guys are tough tonight. Okay, here we go. What's next here? Okay, we already reviewed moving app icons. That was the next thing, so we're going to skip over that guy.
We already did that.
Did that already.
So
Okay.
are you gonna talk about FaceTime?
You mean about doing group calls?
Right, right. That we found out that I didn't have a whole lot of luck with the three-way calling, but with the FaceTime, you can FaceTime. How many people was it? 5 or something? All at once?
I think there's like a 32 person limit.
Oh,
but-
Lordy.
yeah. So
you could FaceTime. I could FaceTime Maggie and Nancy and Annie all at once. And
That's
you can
right.
do it regular FaceTime, or you can say, what was it? FaceTime no audio? Is that what it was?
Yeah, so what you would do is if you wanted a video like a call where everybody can see video, you would just say FaceTime all by itself. FaceTime call Patty Manny. If you wanted just an audio call with no video, you could say FaceTime audio call Patty and Manny. Now I believe Patty does that. She's a part of a group where they do exercise and yoga, and the three of them actually FaceTime each other and do that. I don't want to put you on the spot, Patty, but that's true, right? You guys are still doing that?
Yes. Yeah, we do yoga, but we just do it with audio because Mitzi is blind, she says, she keeps telling us. So we just do it. We can't see each other anyway, but we just call. So one of us will place the call, and once the people are in your contact, all you have to say is, call the way you have those people in your list, their name, the proper name that you gave them. And, we've done 3 to 4 people, and it's very clear. Then it goes to speakerphone. When they answer, it automatically goes to the speakerphone.
That's a good point. I've noticed, and I don't know if you've noticed this, Patty or Barbara, when you do a FaceTime call, it is much clearer than a cellular call.
It is. It is.
And
yeah, it's real clear.
I would almost recommend doing that exclusively if you can. I mean, we're used to just using the phone, the carrier service, but I noticed that the FaceTime call, everything's much clearer. It's not so compressed sounding. It doesn't you don't have these volume changes, And I would recommend doing that. If you guys are having trouble hearing your phone calls, try FaceTiming instead, and you can do it over with just with any of your contacts, And I think right now you cannot do it with Android phones, but I think there's something in the works where they can participate in a FaceTime call. I think there's something out there where they can do it. So the old thing where it's only iPhones, that's not really true anymore. I think when you FaceTime call them, they have to go to a web browser and click on something. And then the
I don't know, but it's a beautiful sound, and then all 3 people can talk at once, so it's great.
Yeah. It's kind of like Zoom, but even better. It's like even a better quality sound than Zoom, so. And then of course, it works like Zoom, to be honest. If you have like 10 people in the conversation, from a visual perspective, if you're doing it visually, the person who's talking gets the focus of the screen, and then they go back to the block of people that are there, that are kind of in the script. And then the next person talking, their face will show. or their number will show if they're doing an audio connection only. So it's kind of really cool. And I think there's some things happening with that in the iOS 18 version. I wish I had more information on this stuff, but they just announced it last week, and they've only put the betas in certain people's hands to try and to see what's going on. So right now, information's kind of skinny on what's going to actually be released in late September. So I'll keep you guys posted on this stuff and make sure that we're in the know. So
And
yeah, thank
and
you.
Manny, also FaceTime call will announce that it's a FaceTime call,
That's right.
either video or audio, so that it's up to you if you want to answer.
That's right.
If you're not dressed or whatever, you don't want to be seen. My nieces will call me on on FaceTime video, and they'll say, and I'm like, I run around. Oh, wait a minute, let me fix my hair, because they can see me.
Yeah.
So, but it does announce it, and then you have the choice to accept or not.
Yeah. And what's good about that, you really don't need a cell phone carrier anymore. You could, if you really wanted to go on the cheap, you don't need a phone number to FaceTime. You just need an internet connection. And that's kind of cool. So who knows where that's going in the future. So but it definitely is a better quality conversation, that's for sure. Okay, any questions on FaceTime? Multiple people or? All right, you guys kind of quiet out there. I'm worried. Putting me all to sleep. I know I'm good at doing that. Let me see here. So the next
I'm
thing,
having coffee.
a coffee. Yeah. So the next thing I was thinking about was a privacy and security issue. Let me get a drink here real quick. Hang on. All right, privacy and security. So one of the biggest things about privacy and security is that every once in a while you need to review what applications have access to your microphone and your camera. Of course, you should also review applications that have access to your GPS, because this is the way things your security can be compromised. There's been stories out there of people just talking around their phone, and all of a sudden they're getting ads about the stuff they were talking about. So this might be something that an application has access to that might be running in the background, and it's somehow accessing the mic because you gave it microphone access, and then of course you can't watch it 24/7, so it might be checking stuff. You never know. I don't know. That would be a horrible thing for an application to do. But I've heard it at least on the Android side. I don't know about here on the Apple side. And of course, your camera is another thing. It's rare that a camera is just going to take a picture on its own. It's much more likely that your GPS data, location data, and your microphone data would be tapped by an application that wants to know what you might be interested in. So if you want to review these settings, there are settings under in settings called privacy and security. And I'm going to get my phone so we can take a look at
8:07
those.
p.m.
Hang on a second. Let's get in there real quick. Okay.
Netflix.
Netflix. All right.
Double tap to home. Calendar settings.
Okay.
Settings.
So in the front door settings, a few swipes down, there's going to be privacy and security. So I'm going to go down there.
Bluetooth. Rows 3 to 13. General. Control. Display. Home screen. Access. Wallpaper. Standby. Siri app. Face ID app. Emergence. Exposure. Battery. Privacy and security. Button.
So right after battery, it's called privacy and security. We're going to go in there.
Location services. On. Button.
So in privacy and security, you have these categories of privacy and security. We're going to go through them real quick. I'm not going to explain each one, but just like the top three maybe. So location services, that is an important one.
Tracking. Button.
Tracking, app tracking. Remember when you get those dialogues that say, would you like the app to track across blah, 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 blah? And you say, ask app not to track, that's what that is. That's telling you which ones are tracking. And so you want to check that too.
Contacts button.
And this is whatever security settings you have for your contacts. Anyway, let's get down to what I was talking about, the microphone and the camera. So I'm going to swipe down there.
Calendars, reminders, photos, Bluetooth, Bluetooth, local network, nearby interactions, microphone, speech.
Oh, there it is, microphone.
Button.
So when I go into microphone, and there's a lot of things to look at here, and I would definitely suggest looking at this once in a while and thinking about what apps have access to what. So like for your microphone, all apps that allow dictation will need the microphone access. For location services, you want to grant that to like Uber and Lyft, because they need to triangulate where you're at, and so they can calculate what it's going to cost for you to use their service. So let's go to microphone real quick, and we might go into location just for fun to show you some of that too. So we're going to go to microphone.
Microphone, app clips, button.
So all the apps that have access to microphone will be listed here. Now, I don't know if there's levels of access. Let me see here.
Amazon Alexa, switch button.
So that one needs access to the microphone. I'm not going to do all of them, just a few, because I need to call out to the aid lady and give her commands. So that's why it needs access to the microphone. I could take that out and then I could still use the app, but I can't use the aid lady by talking to her. So that's how that would affect that program. Let's go to the next thing.
Amazon Music, switch button, on.
This is another one where I can search in the music library. I need to dictate. And let's get down to a one that's interesting here. Let's see.
Be My Eyes, switch button, Chat GPT, Easy Voice Recorder, switch button.
So Easy Voice Recorder, that's an actual voice memos app. So it must have access to the microphone. Now, if I had one in here that doesn't need microphone access, let's say, I don't know, something that doesn't require microphone access. I can't even think of one. But that way, if that was in here, I'd be wondering, well, why does that thing have microphone access? I never do any searches with my voice in there, or it doesn't need to record anything. Why does it need my microphone? So you would have to ask that question, and if you're not sure, turn it off. The worst that can happen is it just won't work right. So you want to turn as many of these off as you can without hurting the functionality of the app that you're restricting. So, and the same thing works for location. Let's go back and look at location real quick.
Privacy and security, private microphone.
We go up there to location.
Location services.
So location services is just another name for GPS, okay? So we go in there.
On.
So I have it on.
Location services uses GPS, Bluetooth, and crowdsourced Wi-Fi hotspot and cell tower locations to determine your approximate location.
Okay.
About location services and privacy. Location services settings also apply to your Apple Watch. Share my location button. Okay. This iPhone is being used for location sharing. App clips button.
So now we have the applications that want your location data. So let's find one here. Let's see.
Ace Hardware requested your location in the past while using button.
So what I've done is I've granted Ace Hardware location services access because I have their app to order items. So they need to determine where to ship it and verify the shipping point. So that's why I have it. I don't have to turn it on, but they recommend that. So if I were to turn that off, Ace Hardware would tell me location services is off. Do you want to turn it on? And you could say no, yes, or while using app. And right now I have it while using app. So just like the microphone, you would peruse this list, and anything that doesn't require location services, whatever the app is, I don't know, like whatever. And if it said, why does this thing need my location? You can turn it off, go back to the app, and if it doesn't work, then you have to make a determination whether you want to use that app or not, because you always got to remember, why do they need my location? And you always have to ask the questions about privacy and security. Anyway, and you would do that with location services, microphone, camera, and anything else that's on this screen to help keep you safe. You know, you don't want to just be giving out your information, willy-nilly to anybody who wants it. Now, the reason that iPhones are more secure than the Android cousins is because Apple does a very good job at curating the apps that go in. They check for things
Screen
like
in.
that. They check for false things and threats and hackers and things using these apps to get to your information before they're put into the App Store. And so they're very closely monitored. That's why it's safer with an iPhone than it is with an Android. And in Android, they try, but a lot gets through there on their side, and a lot of people get their phones hacked because of it. So anyway, that's kind of what that is. That's keeping your privacy and security. And in the notes, I'm gonna explain it in a more concise, detailed way, so that when you read it, you can just do it step by step. And I'll give you like the low-hanging fruit, the ones you should really check, and the ones you maybe want to check, and the ones you can ignore. I'll try to do it that way to make it easier. All right, any questions about privacy and security and modifying those settings? All right, so one thing that that Barbara wanted me to do was to compose a new email via gestures. So instead of using the S lady to say email Barbara McPherson, and then she asks you for the topic, and then you dictate the body, and then you say send. She wants me to go over with you guys how to do it by hitting the compose button and then filling out the fields. Okay, so I'm going to go through that. Was there anything you wanted to mention, Barbara, before I start this? Or
No,
okay, so let me get in there.
8:16 p.m.
All right.
Settings.
All right, so we're going to open the mail app.
Top. Mail. 20. Mail. Messages. Unread. X.
So I'm in the front door of mail, which should be your inbox typically, or whatever box you were in last. If you're in an email message, you're going to have to hit the back button to get to this email list. If you're in the mailboxes, you need to choose the inbox or whatever box that you want to display and to get into there. So we can get this screen, which is the list of email items in the box that you're currently in, typically inbox. So at the bottom right of this screen, there's going to be an icon down there, and I'll find it with my finger. It's called Compose or Create or whatever it's called.
Drafts. To draft. Compose button.
Compose button.
Double tap and hold to bring up drafts.
So I'm going to double tap and not hold it to do a new email. To do that.
2. Text field is editing. Character mode. Insertion point at start.
So it automatically puts me in the to field, and it opens it up for editing because it knows that's what I need to supply. It has to have that information. So all I'm going to do is dictate the name of the person and my contact that I want to send the email to. And we'll just pick on Barbara today. So I'm going to double tap with 2 fingers. I'm going to say Barbara's name and then double tap with 2 fingers again to end dictation. Barbara McPherson.
Thinking.
Thank you. Let me try that again.
Message content.
Oops.
Message body. 2.
What a time for it to mess up. Let me try to. Barbara McPherson.
Inserted Barbara McPherson.
There we go. Okay, so I'm going to swipe down to the search results, and then I'm going to choose her name. I'm sure it's down there. So let me swipe to the right.
Add contact. Results. Barbara McPherson. McPherson@AOL.com.
All right, so I'm going to choose that. And that's important that you choose somebody in the list because that fills out the actual email address. Because there's no email address titled Barbara Space McPherson. They got to get the email. So you got to go to the results always to get that. So I'm going to double tap on her name.
Barbara McPherson. Barbara McPherson.
And then if I swipe to the right, I'm going to go to the next fields in the header of the email. I just filled out who it's going to. So let's see what's next.
Add contact. CC/BCC.
So if I want to CC somebody, carbon copy somebody, or blind carbon copy somebody, I could fill out that field. I'm not going to do that today. I think it automatically copies me. Blind copies me. I think it does it automatically. Let me see.
The real Manny at Gmail.
Yeah, that's me.
Text.
So the next thing is the subject. So I'm gonna go in there and just double and remember, when you get on there, it's not editing it. You have to double tap to open that subject up, so you can edit it. So I'm gonna do that now.
Insertion point at end.
So insertion point at end, and I'm going to just type whatever. I'm gonna dictate it. Test from the class.
Inserted test from the class.
So that's the subject. Now I got to swipe one more time to get to the message body, because that's the last piece that I need. So I'm going to swipe to the right.
Message content. Message body. Thanks. Manny. Text field.
So
Double tap to edit. Editable content start. Message body.
So the signature has already been put in there. I have a default signature that says thanks, comma, and then next line Manny. So when I double tap here, it should put me at the beginning of the email message above that signature and allow me to dictate the body. All right, so I'm going to do that now. So I have to open it up for editing. Let's do that.
Insertion point at start.
Okay. Now I'm going to dictate something in there. Hi, Barbara, Ellipsis. This is a test email from the monthly class, period.
Inserted. Hi, Barbara. This is a test email from the monthly class.
So now I have everything filled out that I need. And if I go to the top right, I have a send button up there that allows me to send the email. I'm going to go ahead and send it, unless you don't want me to, Barbara.
Fine.
So I'm going to find the send button. It should be a little button on the top, and I'll just use my finger to explore by touch. Just go up there.
Message test the real 2. Test from the class. Send button.
There it is, send button. So if I double tap that, Barbara will get this message. I'll do that now.
Send.
And it's gone.
Mailboxes.
Mine makes a swoosh sound when it sends something. So it tells me, it gives me an audio indicator that it went. And that's how you do that. That's how you do an email using gestures. It's the older way of doing it, but it is a good way to do it too. And it's good to practice these gestures so that you always have, a way to send mail in case something happens. Any questions on that? All right, we'll go to the next thing here.
Is it calendar?
Calendar, yes. My next one is calendar default alert times. Now this one's important because I discovered something at Barbara's when you put birthdays in your calendar via the calendar instead of using the birthday field on the contacts, which is no problem, by the way. But you're going to have to understand that the computer or the iPhone doesn't know that that's a birthday. Even if you call it a birthday, it thinks that's an all-day event. It doesn't know that it's not a birthday. So what I want to show you, this is going to be very important when we go over these settings for calendar default alert times. Okay, so what you're going to do is you got to go to settings and then calendar and then default alert times, and then I'll explain it in detail for each one. So let me go there now.
Home, doc, mail, 22 unread emails, settings.
Settings.
Amazon Alexa, requested your location in the past. What privacy and secure private settings. Settings.
All right.
Heading.
So I'm going to go down to calendar.
App Store, wallet and Apple, past, mail, contact, calendar.
Calendar right there. So under mail and contacts and all that, the calendar is going to be right there with that. So you double tap on calendar.
Allow calendar to act.
Now this calendar on the iPhone, don't be fooled, it's a full-fledged calendaring app. It works just as good as any other app that's out there for PCs and stuff too. It's not a lightweight app at all. So let's go down to default alert times.
Siri answer. Accounts. Time zone over. Alternate calendar. Week numbers. Show invitee to sync. Default alert times. Button.
So default alert times is what we're interested in.
Birthdays. 1 week before.
So there are 3 categories of alert times. So for birthdays, I have 1 week before.
Birthdays. 1 week before. Button.
Now, what it means by birthdays is not in the name. Birthdays to the iPhone or iOS means the field in contacts. That's the only thing it knows about birthdays. Okay. So when you fill that in, the month and the day, it will automatically be inserted on your calendar as a birthday. Okay. And that's the kind of data that is. Okay. So for those guys and only those guys, it's a week before. The next category of alerts is
Events. 2 hours before.
so events. These are like, I'm going to see Dr. Bob tomorrow, or whatever it is, or whatever thing you put on there. That's an event. Okay. And then the last one are all day events.
All day events. 1 day before. 9 a.m.
Okay, so all day events include holidays, like Father's Day, very important holiday, by the way. And like if you put birthdays in, you're not going to put a time of day. So that's going to be an all-day event. So if you want to be notified of somebody's birthday, you got to be sure that if you're putting them in via the calendar way, that this setting, all-day events, has the correct alert time that you want. So like in Barbara's case, she wanted it a week before. She wasn't getting notified of birthdays, even though she put them in there.
Right, because we didn't have this turned on.
That's right. So we turned it on and we set it for a week. And now people, all-day events, including holidays and birthdays, will show up and notifications on her phone. So that's a very important thing to review, because the thing is, like with events, let's say category 2 here, let's say you have to go see a doctor. Well, you might have to put 2 events in there. You have your doctor's appointment at 2:30 p.m., but maybe you want to put another event before that, would be your early window for your sun van, let's say. You put that in there too. Sun van for the doctor at 1:05, and then you're ready for that ride at 1:05. Your phone will make sure you know. And of course, your phone can tell you 2 hours before that so you can get ready. So it's very important to use your calendar if you're using it. It really works well.
Screen dimmed.
Because for us, transportation is a big thing. We can't just jump in our car and drive there. We have to set up transportation. So yeah, and the calendar is very good at that. Never loses time, never have to do anything except just put stuff in there. So, any questions?
When you set up your birthday, I just say, add birthday, Terry's birthday, and then I say yearly on whatever date it is. And that's how you set up birthday. And then it's on your calendar yearly.
Right.
And
So-
then the other thing I want to mention too, Manny, we learned the hard way. You have to say, what are my appointments in July 2024? Because this calendar was telling me stuff in 2025.
Yeah, the calendar is when you the calendar doesn't know what you're thinking. So unlike artificial intelligence, which kind of zeroes in more into context and what you're thinking, right now you have to tell the S lady, what are my appointments in month, year, or what are my next appointments in month and year, whatever month and year. And then she will call those down to that month or year and tell them to you. If you leave them open, if you have recurring appointments, let's say a yearly appointment or a yearly birthday, well, you might get the 2025 guy, like she said, like Barbara said, instead of the ones you're interested in, you know, that are in front of you. And I know that doesn't make sense, but believe me, that's the way it works. So you got to have a little more specificity when you're asking about calendar events. At least tell it the month, you know, and then it can then peruse month and year actually. excuse me.
The 75.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay. So that's kind of what I had for calendars. Thank you, Barbara. for
Did
that.
you want to go over voice over calendar?
Oh yeah.
VO calendar?
Yeah, so another thing, if you're into simplicity and you don't want to like open the calendar app and because the calendar app looks like a calendar, it's got all the days of the week and 30, 31 days, and you know, they're not right in front of you. You could list them as a list and see it that way, but even then, if you're not used to it, it'll be hard. A real easy way to look at your calendar is using this voiceover calendar that does it by week. Now, when you set up your voice over calendar, there is a cost for that. It's a one-time charge. And when you set it up, you have to give it access to your calendars. That's the only thing. And you do that in settings and you say you grant access to voice over calendar to your calendar. So it can then.
Right, but when you look at it, it says VO calendar. It doesn't say voiceover, it says VO.
That's right.
calendar.
It's VO, Victor Oscar calendar. Okay. So when you tell it to open the app, you got to say VO calendar. And I'll do that now. Here, let me just get my phone here.
8:30 p.m.
I think this will probably be the last one. Let's see. We are at 8:30.
Settings. Settings.
So Siri, open VO calendar.
VO calendar. The week of today, Tuesday, June 18th. 9 events. On Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
So I did nothing. I just opened the app and that's what it said. If I swipe to the right, and the way it looks is I have each day, and let me just swipe to the first day to make it easy. I'm going to swipe over to the right.
Monday 17. 3 events. Eid al-Adha. No time. Barbara McPherson. 1 o'clock p.m. Gaslight Theater with Rhonda and Hank. 4 o'clock p.m. Tap twice to open day.
I actually didn't make that one.
I know.
Me and Patty was sick, so we canceled that one. That was kind of one we wanted to go to. Anyway, so if I swipe to the right, I'm going to go to Tuesday.
Today, Tuesday 18. 1 event. TSB Zoom class. 6:30 p.m. Tap twice to open day. License plate.
And I'll just do a few
Logo
more.
other. Wednesday 19. 3 events. Juneteenth. No time. Juneteenth. No time. Larry Martin. 2 o'clock p.m.
So
Tap twice to open day.
So holidays and all-day events have no time. That's all it says. But those are your all-day events. And basically you can go all the way to Sunday, and then you have 3 little navigation things at the bottom of after Sunday. I'll swipe down there and you can hear them yourself. Let me see.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, settings button.
So you got a settings button.
Other month button.
You can change
Logo
months.
Previous week.
Previous
button.
week.
Next week.
And
Logo
that's it.
other.
That's all you got. Very simple screen.
Swipe up or down to select a custom.
And the good thing about it, it's completely compatible with VoiceOver. It's a real solid thing. It's real easy. You don't have to navigate all over the place, swipe up, down, you know, whatever, change months and all that. You know, it's really very, very easy. So
It's almost too
recommend it.
easy. It
Yeah.
scares me. I was like, wow.
I wish more apps were like this, because this is a really good example of a nice, easy app, no frills, just does what it says. And you can actually modify events here, but it's not really good at that. It's better at just telling you what's going on. That's what I use it for. So
to review, when you add an appointment on your calendar, you say, you want to go through it just real quick?
yeah, I could demo that here right now. What I can do is I can add a an event for tonight. And it'll show up right in front of me, okay? So let me do that. Siri. New event titled Test Event, 9 p.m. tonight.
Test event is scheduled for 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. today.
Okay, so Siri put it on the calendar. Let's see if it shows up on VO calendar without me doing anything.
The week of today, Tuesday, June 18th. 10 events.
So I'm gonna
On
go
Monday,
in.
Monday 17. Today, Tuesday 18. 2 events. TSB Zoom class, 6:30 p.m. Test event, 9:00 p.m.
There it is.
Tap twice to open.
So it's immediately available in VO calendar because it's connected to your calendars. It gets all the information just like your other calendars. So
But
it's live.
if you're adding to a calendar, you say add event to calendar, then you give the title, and then it'll ask you what date and time, and then you give it the date and time.
Yeah, I just did it a shortcut way. I just said today at 10 or whatever.
I know, but that's a little bit confusing. So you don't have to add a title. You say add new event or add appointment or whatever you want, and then
Yeah.
give it a name, and then it will ask you for the time and date.
That's right. Yeah, there's no wrong way to do it. That's a good way too. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that's kind of what I had. Let me see. I think we're past 8:30.
Yeah, it's a little after, and I can kill it whenever you want.
How you doing, Barbie? You think we're?
I think we're done. Thank you for another wonderful lesson.
Yeah, thank you,
All
Barbie.
right.
Thank you,
Thank
John.
you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, we're gonna bail on
Bye
her
bye,
out, guys.
everybody.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Okay, good night.
Night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.